Hello, everyone. So we are talking about. Actually, I'm going to do a card reading. Sometimes I don't have anything planned for these videos. Sits in front of the camera. It's like I don't like to use this terminology because I just don't like it. But the whole being gold to do something. So yeah, sometimes I get that. Like it's like an inclination to come and sit in front of the camera and see what's up. We got the animals coming out. We got the animals. They want to come out and play, bro. Animals. Your animal deck wants to come out, guys. I only have 3 cards. A lot of people think that you need to have a whole bunch of cards. No, you could even draw up your own cards with a whole bunch of different meanings to those cards and draw those and see what happens. Pretty much that. I said otter in my last reading. It's pretty much that. Pretty much that easy. So we've got lion, we've got bear. What I'm seeing is a whole bunch of strength coming up. Straight away, there's a bunch of strength. Coyote, rabbit. Okay, now that's like yin yang, like like prey predator thing. There's something going on there, but it's definitely like it's like you were the prey and now you've become the predator. But as it should be, because it feels like you're a predator who will only choose. You're not a predator who's going to hunt for fun. You're not just going to take your aggression out on people. It feels like you've actually evolved out of that. What else we got? So the lion, the bear, that's kind of all obvious. The lion wants to tell you, hey, dude, you got your courage. Cougar, dude, what am I telling you? You are a warrior right now. You have this warrior energy. You are the predator, dude, right now. Okay, and that is something that you can be grateful for. So I know the kangaroo was like the crazy thing. So let's talk about these here for now. So the first thing you want to note is just that we've talked about this already. So you've got your yin yang energy is coming up. You're basically in tuning yourself with your divine masculine, divine feminine, and you're experiencing things that are going to balance those two forces out. Sometimes it can be a counterpart energy where one of you has an unhealed, wounded feminine and one has an unhealed, wounded masculine. Right now, there's an expansion process that involves some of that stuff, but there's also expansion processes that involve a lot of other things. Essentially, a lot of people are waking up and ascending right now. A lot of people are meeting what some people want to call a counterpart, or you can call it a soul connection, soul bond, things like that. So, twin flame. So, you get a bunch of cool things that have come up recently, and it feels like whatever the experience that you are experiencing right now through this expansion, what's happening for you, or actually, it feels like what has happened. So, even if you can't see it physically, it feels like this is like not to be, it's not has whatever, it's this. Okay, and this energy that is instilled right now, here and now, is this strength, just constant strength. None of these say strength, but they all scream strength. Do you know what I mean? Like, look at them. They look muscular, they look strong, they look overwhelmingly positive as well in the way they conduct themselves. You know what I mean? Like this guy looks like he's on a purpose. He's on a mission. He knows what his next move is. This guy looks like he will stand tall through anything, no matter what. This guy looks like he's also just on a mission, but he's just willing to trek and do whatever he needs to do. So this definitely shows like you've grown up into this person, into this warrior, into this predator who might at one stage have felt like the prey, like the rabbit in all of this. But no, you are actually you've grown into this through the power of your wisdom. The wisdom is the biggest thing there, um for this transition to have taken place. You've grown up a lot, what the cards are telling us. The kangaroo with gratitude, you can be grateful for this growing up. If anything else comes out for gratitude, and also feel like there might be something for your bear coming out. So we've got pelican, forgiveness, forgiveness upside down, and then we've got the owl, omens right side up. Okay, so all right, let's talk about so the pelican forgiveness. This is just saying that if there is a way that you can move forward, it's probably through forgiveness. But there's more coming up. Swap decks. I heard that. Sometimes I still doubt if I do really hear anything, but whenever I follow that guidance, it works out anyways. It always presents something unique in reading. So we've got the nature spirits devotion. I pulled that earlier this morning. I don't know where that's supposed to fit in. What and this? Oh my god, these are jumping out at me. So we've got creativity. We've got celebration upside down. Celebration, invention, devotion. What is going on? I can't get a reading on these cards. Let's go to the angels. Maybe the angels can guide us in these cards. They are saying if I sit and think a little bit, if we sit and think a little bit, let's see what comes up. So it feels like you're currently devoting yourself to a project, or you're currently devoting yourself to something of creation. Feels like uh, this could be your new phase of life. It feels like you're transitioning, so you are doing this whole transition period, but it's happening because you're working with the flow. So you're creating something. You're creating something right now. And this celebration in reverse gives me like just, but I don't think it's an anxious card. What I mean by that is I think that we are celebrating too soon. It feels like that. It feels like a celebration too soon. It feels like you can live your good life, but remember that you need to keep working. You need to keep inventing. You need to keep working on your project in order to keep living your good life. So it feels like right now there's this final test for us in this transition where we're transitioning to a stage where we can actually live the life that we really want to live. We have to go through this process of realizing that we're not there yet. So even though we want to tell ourselves that we are, and that's what everyone says we need to do for manifesting and stuff, the fact is we need to be like, that is where I am in my energy, in the metaphysical, but right now I'm aware that I still have X amount in the bank. So I can't go and spend X amount and just be like, well, now what? What we need to be doing now is working to grow X amount in the bank or to grow whatever it is we want. So this invention is about our priorities now. So we are inventing a project, but we get to invent it or create it or follow it in our own light now. This is our own light now, and we need to devote ourselves to it. So that was actually pretty easy. The celebration just tripped me up because it's not something I wanted to hear. This message right here, that's why I had to actually sit and read these cards. It wasn't just flowing out of me because I actually had to take a lesson from this as well. Okay, this is also talking to me, and if you're the reason I'm bringing this up, if it's going to resonate with you, if you're thinking of starting a project like this, or you're thinking of doing something that's really taking you out of your comfort zone, you feel this card waiting to come out. If you're going to come out of your comfort zone and you're going to do something like this, very exposing, very truthful, but it's your own truth, a lot of people aren't going to resonate with it, then this is a good time to start that, even though it's scary to do that. Okay, children. The inner child wants to come out. So how do you know what projects you should work on? The inner child will guide you. So your higher self might be saying, we need to go and work on some money. We need to make some money. But the children, the inner child might be saying, sure, we do need to do that. But actually, no, we don't really need to do that. You know, what we should do instead is we should do this and see what happens. So the inner child is a guiding force that is often, or it can be, to the egoic person or to the person who is newly awakened, who is stuck in the matrix a while. Your inner child is a guiding force which actually feels uncomfortable at first because it feels like pain. Because the inner child speaks to you through the pain. So, for example, if I'm driving and I'm feeling anxious because I'm using my petrol money and I know I need to go home, sometimes my inner child, if I really needed to drive that day, my inner child will actually hurt whichever side I was going to turn on my home. You know, whichever way I was going to turn, if it was to get home. Sometimes my inner child will actually make my body hurt on that side. And then I know that I shouldn't go that way. But this is going to be unique and different for everybody, how you experience your inner child. But ultimately, essentially, the inner child is going to talk to you in the capacity of your heart. So anything that feels like it's coming from your heart is going to be something that the inner child is going to help you resonate with. My dogs are going ballistic. I'm finally freaking returning. If anybody follows the vlogs, I'm finally returning Spencer, which means I'm going to be blessed with serenity. My God. I swear to God, I love this dog with all my heart's content, but he is the most narcissistic dog I have ever had to train. My freaking God, he doesn't stop. It's so much work. I literally have to be on him 24/7. But I don't. I don't. He gets very good very quickly. It's just the issue is that, haha, this is interesting. It's just the issue is that because what I'm talking about right now is actually a counter connection for whoever's reading being read right now. This is actually happening. So you're having this interaction, a similar interaction with somebody in your life right now, where maybe you were the person who was more ego, less heart, or maybe you were the person who was more heart, less ego. Whatever the case was, um, it feels like something happened with somebody. Obviously, we've got the soulmate card that popped up. There's something there. There's a connection being made, connection being uh, established and stuff. On my personal level, I was literally talking about Spencer. Spencer and I are soulmates, even though he's a doggo, but I know this is a connection there. But the fact is, what this is saying is that sometimes the only way to get to serenity is either to work with the soulmate energy and evolve, or it's to let the soulmate go. So the energy here is just that's just what popped up, okay? And the reason it's popping up in that form for me right now is because of what I was talking about with Spencer. It was just interesting that these popped up as that happened, okay? Like the fact is I love that dog, but I wasn't going to be willing to live with him because he doesn't respect boundaries, you know? So that's just coming out of this. You can't have serenity unless you're with someone who will respect you in every capacity of who you are. I don't mean respect your ego. You want someone who's going to help you dissolve your ego, okay? The reason I had to let so many of my friends go in the past is because they were so ego. I would tell a truth. I would literally say, dude, you are doing this wrong. And I know people don't like to hear that, but the fact is, when they've done the same mistake 8 times, it's so blatantly obvious that you don't have to be a psychic. You just have to be a loving person to be able to see what the issue is. But people aren't willing to do that. They would rather live in their ego because they think that's where serenity is. Yeah, that is not where serenity is. Serenity is in your heart. The inner child will help you get to your serenity, and only when you get to your serenity can you truly connect with your soulmate, because that's at that point when you're serene and calm and stable inside yourself and nothing's going to trigger you, then you can just talk and be honest and open in every capacity. Because if nothing triggers you, then you can deal with the energy when it does trigger somebody else. It becomes a lot easier. At first, by the way, while you're doing this, while you're learning this whole process and unblocking your throat chakra, there's going to be a big process for some of you of having to speak up your truth no matter how you have to present it. Okay, because some people, there's no other way other than to break down a barrier. Okay, dude, we're using 3 different cards here, 3 different decks. Haha, the signs are back again. We've got your owl for your signs and playfulness. So this is the biggest thing coming up right now. It's such a big thing coming up right now, but that's why it's so confusing as well, because we already had this lack of celebration. It's not a lack of celebration, it's more like make sure that it's a prolonged celebration. You don't want to use all your good fuel up so quickly, right? If you do have a bunch of money saved, you don't want to just fly through it and then have to wait for some more money to come in that you can spend. You want to be able to do what you want as you please, but that means being consistent and steady in your lifestyle, being balanced in your lifestyle as well. So that's what's coming from here. And the balance that's missing is this playfulness. So this is what the inner child wants to keep bringing up. This is why the signs are so important. I think the biggest sign from this reading is the playfulness, because the inner child wants to talk to you to allow you to reach a state of serenity, but the inner child's struggling to talk to you because you're not doing something to to unlock or access or talk to the inner child. When you want to talk to your inner child, it's a good idea to go and play. But now I don't mean play like this can be play in any capacity. Like for example, if you are into sex, it can be that, like one night stands and stuff. If you're into drugs and alcohol, it can be that. I'm just going to be completely honest. It can absolutely be those things. But you need to identify for yourself now, because now you're waking up, now you're aware of what these things really do and what consequences they can really have. And that means that you get to decide for yourself in each moment of life whether something is good or isn't good for you. Okay, but you need to assess that honestly. We've talked about honesty in all the past previous readings. But this one is saying, so now that you know about being honest with yourself, this one is saying that go ahead and be playful with yourself as well. But be honest, what is really playing to you? Do you still enjoy video games or do you want to do something else? you want to go driving? Do you want to go dancing? Do you want to be around people? What's going to make you feel happy? But remember that it needs to make you feel happy. You don't want to go around people just because you feel like you need to be around people or else you're missing opportunity. That's not playful. That's you putting pressure on yourself that you're not doing something right, which is actually a negative energy. Okay? That's lack of faith right there. What you need to be doing is finding something that you truly do enjoy on a heart level. I don't care if it's building a puzzle in the middle of the garden. Take a table out and you build a puzzle in the garden. You can do that. Whatever you want. Just spend some time having some play. Okay. And then the signs just keep coming up. The signs are just like, hey, man, look at all the signs that keep coming up, bro. Do you notice all the signs? There's nothing more coming up. One more retreat. Retreat. But retreat was upside down. So what is this sign? So what does this sign mean? We got retreat upside down, and I feel like that is a sign. That is an omen. You tell us, what is this sign about? Healing, retreat. So the retreat is reversed for healing. So the healing has been done. It's been focused. It's been a focused time. The retreat has happened. So this retreat has happened. But it feels like it needs to be ongoing. It feels like it needs, okay, this is actually the process. So it's healing, retreat, focus, playfulness. That's the full cycle there. So it's like you gotta heal. Actually, the retreat and healing are the two cycle energies. It's like yin yang again. But both yin in its energy, even though that sounds anti. Freedom, new beginning. God, what is all of this now? We just pulled a whole bunch of more cards. Okay, so playfulness is still up there. Retreat is there. Okay, let's think about this. So it feels like this is another message that maybe I'm blocking myself from. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Healing, retreat. So the healing is happening. The healing is happening whether we have retreated or not. Why is this retreat? Give us a symbol. They're saying again, if I just pay attention, I'll get it. But I would like another symbol, please. The horse is freedom. It keeps going to freedom. But two freedoms. You always have a choice. So the choice is yours. So the choice is the sign. So if we work back from this. So this is the process to the celebration. So this is your process to get to your celebratory state. So you're healing. That's obvious, right? Everyone here is aware of that. You're waking up, you're having a hard time, you don't know what's going on, you feel confused, you feel dazed, you feel lost, you feel out of control. That's all healing. Whether you think it is or not, because it sounds awful if you're not experiencing it, but you are experiencing it, you know what it's like. But it's also incredible, right? I think a lot of you are actually having a lot more positive experience with this than you are negative. Even though there's been a lot of negativity, I'm feeling heartbreak, I'm feeling sadness, I'm feeling anxiety, panic attacks, things like that. Um, I feel lack of composure. I feel a little bit like I have to be on speed mode, like I'm running out of time. It feels like, and all of that is just coming from the fact that you've been healing these. These are things that you are healing, and they are just energies that are trying to convince your ego that you're running out of time or that you're blah 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 blah. So that's just you healing. Wait, okay, when you're confronting that stuff, you're healing it, and that's why there's been this retreat. So there has been a retreat. The thing that's just tripping me up is why is it upside down? Because this is something I can't tell if this is something that needs to keep going on or if this is something that has been going on and needs to stop. I really can't tell you what that is, but I think it might resonate with you as per your individual. So, depending on whatever signs you got before this, or depending on what sort of sign you asked for from this reading, that might mean something to you. The fact that the retreat is upside down for me or for you, okay, right side up. Okay. Then we've got the focus and playfulness. So this is basically saying you need to have the focus in order to get to the place you want to be, but you need to balance it with the playfulness. So this is where was tripping me up because I keep just wanting to work, 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 and then I start hating it. And I'm like, but I love what I'm doing. Why am I hating it? But the fact is because we're missing out on other stuff. Think about it this way. It's the same as even if you love what you're doing, if you do it over and over and over, you're going to get bored. right? There's going to be that repetitive, boring energy that comes up. So that's where you lose your focus. So what it's saying is balance that. Balance the focus and playfulness. Balance the focus and playfulness. Spend time having some fun, then spend time focusing on what you need to do. I'm getting the hiccups. So we've got our freedom. Freedom's coming back up again. The freedom is the big thing that we've all been searching for. Freedom to make our own choices, freedom to do our own thing, freedom to speak our own truths, live our own lives, live abundantly, live successfully, be passionate, be creative, be intuitive. This is the freedom that we have all been seeking, basically breaking the chains of the matrix. Um, and that is leading us into our new beginnings, the new beginning with freedom. If we can realize that we do have the freedom already, then we already will access the new beginning. Because the fact is, if we realize that we have freedom, then what we think we're working towards, we'll realize that we already have it. That's what's coming up here. So whatever we're working towards right now, whatever our focus is, it feels like, yes, we already have it, and we should already be preemptively celebrating, but not in our actions, not in our reaction to the world, not yet. Only once we've passed this border, only once we've created the new beginning and we've received our divine inheritance. Okay, I know divine guidance is what came up, but definitely it's talking about this inheritance, abundance. It feels like acknowledgements of hard work and dedication being made, and it feels like people are evolving now. Okay, some of you are evolving into an abundance of better choices for yourself. Some of you are evolving into abundance of an enlightened abundance, and some of you are evolving to that inheritance state where you are now just gaining access to resources which you never had access to before, and that's allowing you to evolve even further. And you have changed on the inside, and you now want to change on the outside, or you want to change other things outside because you now know right from wrong. So the universe is now going to be blessing you. So you can celebrate. Okay, you can celebrate preemptively. What I would do if I were you, I would go to bed every night and I'd say, thank you, God, or thank you, universe, for. And then what are the 3 things that you want to celebrate? Thank you for my immense freedom. Thank you for my divine inheritance. Thank you for my completely new beginning. Thank you for freeing me from my old self. Thank you for freeing me from the chains and restrictions of other people's viewpoints. That's what you need to be celebrating. So the celebration will be in your actions, but not in your reactions. The reactory celebration energy will only come once the cycle has completed. Because at that point, you will have so much to your name that nothing will be fear-inducing anymore. You might still be afraid. Okay, you might still be afraid. Like if you came from having $0 to your name and you lived in poverty and now you have $1 million, you might still feel like, well, shit, $1 million not a lot. Okay, you might still feel like that, even though it's like, well, it's my way more than I had before. Okay, but the fact is, if you feel like that, then the reason you feel like that is, and the reason you're stopped there is because you feel like that. So if you feel like that, it's because the universe is saying, well, you need to learn now that $1 million is way more than what you need. So that's what's going to happen. So everybody, and I see this in so many people in the higher generations above us, especially the ones who are not yet awakened, mostly the ones who are not yet awakened, they are the ones who then say, they go and they make so much money. They make so much freaking money compared to us here. In the younger generations, we have to scrape by in this life. But those peeps make so much money. They have got such good stability, consistency. And yet I still hear this all the time. I never have enough money. I have to spend so much money. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, the universe has stopped you from taking any more money for yourself because you currently can't see that what you have is way more than enough. They are not sharing. They are not willing to give out. They will only share if they think that it's something of higher level to their ego. So, for example, a family member comes and asks for money. No, you don't just give money to a family member, okay? What have they done for you, okay? That's not how it works. A transaction is a transaction. It is not a gift, okay? A gift only comes when someone shows you their value, shows you their worth, shows you that they appreciate you and they value you as well. You do not just give stuff away. It is the most unhealthy thing you can do. I don't mean giving stuff away as in, I have this, let me give it away, now I have nothing. Giving away needs to be a balance. You should always give away what you don't need and what you don't want as well. Obviously, that second one's obvious. But what I mean here is when it comes to giving away, you have to be very safe and secure in your decision. When you give away, you don't want to just give away from an empty cup. You don't want to give things away and then you have nothing, okay? You want to make sure that you come first, always. So if a family member asks for money and you have that money and you don't care about money, then sure. But you need to be aware that there's a chance that if you don't know that family member, they might go and spend it on drugs, they might go and spend it on gambling, or there's something like that, okay? Because remember, we're humans. It's not like we intend to make our mistakes, but actually we do, all right? It's just that most people aren't aware of it. They're not brought to the light like you've been awakened now, and that's why you're checking out these videos and stuff like that. Okay, guys, that was this reading here. Is there anything else coming out? Nope, pretty much that's that. I hope you guys could resonate with something from this. This was a little bit of a crazier reading, but it was definitely a reading that needed to pop out for all of us to learn something, including myself today. That's super awesome. Thanks very much. And I will see you in the next video. Is there anything standing out that you guys feel like you need to talk about? I'm just going to try and read your energy quick sticks. It feels like, because I am getting getting like energy of reminiscing. So there's like a reminiscence. It feels like you could be reminiscing about somebody. It feels like this somebody might not be it feels like I might be picking up on personal energy. It feels like this person is reminiscing and I don't know, there's just a reminiscent energy that's popped up. There's like, it feels like they're longing for something. It feels like there's a longing energy for something. Somebody's longing for something. But they're also blocking. There's a block. The energy it's not open. It's not there for me to read, if that makes sense. I'm just sensing, but reading it is not going to happen. Somebody don't want me to read their energy. That's out of fear. I can feel the fear there. I mean, that's an obvious one, though, but hey, is there anything else to bring to the collective before we move on? Stay true to yourself. Keep truth in everything you do. That is how you achieve integrity. If you want to know how to become a good person, start by honestly assessing things through truthful eyes. And that includes your own deeds, actions, misdeeds, mistakes. That can get hard, but you'll get your victory that way. Right. Thanks for joining. Everybody who's joining and watching these vids, I'm enjoying it, so I hope this resonated, and I'll see you later.